If you want to build a personal brand full of people who are ready to buy from you, then this video is for you. In 2025, a personal brand is probably one of the most valuable assets you can possibly have. If you build an audience of people who like you, who know you, and who trust you, you will never, ever be short for money. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through my strategies to build a personal brand full of people who are ready to buy. Now, there's a huge difference between being an influencer with loads of followers and actually having a personal brand of people who like, know, and trust. So I'm going to talk you through my 3-step framework in order to create an audience of people who actually want to buy your stuff and not just watch your videos. So the first thing is ICP. So who is your ideal customer profile? Who is your viewer? What are their pain points and what problem are you solving? Secondly is your uniqueness, because the market is pretty oversaturated at the minute. There's loads and loads of people posting content, but what makes you different from everyone else out there is your uniqueness, your personality, your life experiences, the lessons you've gained over the last few years. So that's what we're going to be focusing in on. And thirdly, conversion content. So this kind of links these two things together in order to create content that actually converts to buyers. So let's get into it. So the first thing we need to get so clear on is who are you actually trying to speak to in your content? Actually create an avatar and create a character. What is their name? What's their age? Where are they based in the world? What problems do they face every single day? And the more detail you can go into on this, the better results you're actually going to get. Because you're actually going to be able to get inside their head, their narrative, the way they speak to themselves, and really actually resonate with them. So what you write now to actually create a character. What is their name? What is their age range? What is their 3 biggest struggles? What is their pain? Like, how do they feel on a day-to-day basis? And what is their dream result? Where exactly do they want to get to? So I'm going to give you mine as an example. My ideal client is Sophie. She's a coach. She's probably in or around 1 or 2K a month in her online coaching business. She struggles with getting clients. She struggles with creating content that converts, and she struggles with getting leads every single day and getting sales calls booked. She's scared to charge what she's worth. She's scared to sell, and she's scared to come across as too pushy. So they're the problems I'm going to solve for her within my content. Then every single week, when you're creating content and when you're doing your scripting, I want you to think, how can I solve one of my ideal clients' problems today within my content? Literally as simple as that. But the key here is the more detail you can get in terms of their day-to-day life, what their morning routine looks like, what their evening routine looks like, do they scroll on their phone before they go to sleep, do they snooze their alarm loads of times? But the key here is the more detail you can possibly go into in this, the better you're going to be able to solve their problems. Do they scroll on their phone before they go to bed? Do they snooze their alarm? Do they really care about comparison and judgment? Do they doubt themselves every single day? Do they rush out the door and skip breakfast? The more tangible examples you have of what their life looks like, the more you can actually target them through your content, and the more magnetic your page is going to be to these people who you want to work with. And see, that's the key difference between going viral and get loads of followers who are actually not going to buy from you, and really try to speak to your ideal customer within your content, create an audience of people who are actually your ideal customer, and that is going to create an audience of people who actually want to buy whatever you're selling. So definitely the first step is to get so clear on your ideal viewer, who exactly it is you want to work with, and what all their problems are and what all their dream results are. Next is your uniqueness. Your unique selling point is you. It's your personality, it's your life experiences, it's what you've been through in the past, it's the lessons you've learned. And most people get into coaching because they're probably trying to help a past version of themselves or a younger version of themselves. So I want you to think of all these things. What was a real pivotal moment in your life? What was your rock bottom? What's one lesson you learned in the last couple of years? What's one thing you used to struggle with that you don't anymore? What's some mindset shifts you've made? What's some bad habits you gave up? What's important to you in your life? Maybe it's family, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's your friends. And I want you to try create one content pillar around either telling your story, telling your journey, or the things that matter to you or are important in your life. Whether you go to the gym loads or one other thing that's unique about you. Again, there's lots of people posting content at the moment. There's so many coaches out there, but nobody can copy your unique experiences and your personality. So for example, relating it back to my story and my journey, in 2017, I started my first business, which was a clothing brand. So that's something I bring into my content sometimes. I used to have a really bad relationship with alcohol, which is something I talk about in my content. I used to go out, I used to party loads, I used to drink loads. Then I worked corporate. I really hated my corporate job. Then I left my corporate job. Then I moved to Bali. These are all things who make me different to every other coach that's out there on the internet. And that's what I try to put across in my content. What makes me different to everyone else, and why should someone choose to work? Because like attracts like. Your personality is going to attract your people to your page, and the more you can show off who you are in your personality, the more people like you that you actually want to work with are going to be drawn to your page. So the first 2 things is experiences and lessons, your personality. It's so obvious when someone shows up online not being themselves. Maybe they're trying to act really confident when in reality they're shy. Maybe they're trying to be really funny when in reality they're actually just not that funny. Just be yourself. That's what makes you stand out amongst everyone else. What kind of energy do you have when you're with your friends, when you're with your friend group, when you're actually talking about something you're really passionate about? Are you really motivating? Are you more calm, cool, and collected? Do you talk really fast like me, or are you more like slow, relaxed, and calm? And when you're creating content, try to bring that in. And a really good way to do this is when you prop up your phone, get your friend or get a family member to try stand behind the phone and literally just speak to them like you're actually just having a conversation with them. That's going to allow you to talk a little bit more normally like you would in real life. So ask yourself, what kind of person are you when you're with your friends, or like when you're actually at your happiest? Are you calm, cool and collected, as I said? Are you really motivational, intense, confident, funny? And try to just replicate as much of that into your content as possible. And the last thing is conversion content. And the third thing is then you have to post conversion content or call to action content. So that's just basically a piece of content that's asking someone to apply to work with you, to DM you a keyword, or just really promoting what you're trying to sell. And I recommend at least posting one video out of 7 per week that talks about your product or service or talks about what you're offering. And so many people are scared to do this. But if you're really passionate about helping people, and if you really believe in your product or service, why are you scared to talk about it? It should be something you love doing. If you genuinely know it can help more people, talking about it is just going to get it in front of more eyes and actually allow you to make more of an impact. So you want to make sure that every single week you're at least putting out one piece of content that has a call to action in it of some sort, either talking about your program, talking about your product, talking about what you're offering, showing testimonials, or talking about your personal story, and then inviting someone on a call to be able to help them further. So I'm going to give you 3 pieces of call to action content for absolutely free that you can post in order to get people to work with you. The first type is a client journey. So someone you've worked with that's got a good result. Now the key to this that most people miss, it's not just about doing a before and after post or doing a really boring piece of content, but it's about storytelling, because storytelling is what really hooks the viewer and what makes them interested and actually engage with your piece of content. So for a client journey piece of content, you want to actually tell a story. So let's say I'm going to give an example of one of my clients, Hannah. When Hannah came to me, she was really stuck on what to post. She had no strategy and she had no idea how to close sales or actually book calls and get leads every single week. That's the pain. And then I'm going to bring them through the transformation of what we did with her. So firstly, we got so clear on our offer, who it was for, her IPC. Secondly, we created a content plan for her that actually turned her viewers into buyers. Thirdly, we created a lead generation strategy. So she had a story sequence and posts every single week in order to get sales calls booked in. And then fourthly, we brushed up on her sales skills to be able to close high ticket sales. And then afterwards, she was able to move to Bali, do something that she absolutely loved full time, and she never is going to have to go back and work a corporate job ever again if she doesn't have to. So instead of just saying, my client Hannah made 5K, I'm actually bringing you through a journey and bringing you through a story of what it was like working with my client Hannah. So say if you're a PT or you're a fitness coach, an example of this will be, say, my client Paul came to me, he was really stuck in life, he was really unhealthy, and he had loads of bad habits. Then we brought him through the transformation and talk a little bit about how he did that. And afterwards, he was living a way more happy and fulfilled life. He was able to play with his kids, create some emotion. That's the first type of conversion content you can post. And at the end of the video or the end of the carousel, you always want to put a call to action of some sort that directs them to either DM you a keyword, comment a keyword, or else hit the application in your bio to apply to work with you. So it's a post that has a call to action to direct someone to actually work with. The second type of conversion content is your personal story. So it's talking about an experience that you've been through and then directing someone to apply to work with you. And if someone can see themselves in that story and see themselves in your before and want to be where you are now, then likely they're going to apply to work with you. So an example of this, when I was a mindset coach, I used to post this one piece of content that said, 3 years ago, I was drinking, I had no discipline, I had no goals. I had no purpose in life, I was miserable, I was sad, I was working a corporate job. Now, 3 years on, I've built discipline, I've built healthy habits, I've started a business, I've started making money, and I'm living in Bali. If you want me to help you bring you through this transformation, hit the link in my bio to apply to work with me. So that's an example of a personal story piece of content that shows people your before, shows people your after, how you got there, and then directs them to actually want to work with. So say if you're a fitness coach, usually most people who are fitness coaches or nutrition coaches, they are for a reason. It's usually to help a younger version of themselves who would have needed this service when they were younger. So maybe you got injured and have been through like a serious injury. Maybe you used to binge eat or emotionally. So how you put that into a conversion piece of content using your personal story is saying, 3 years ago, I used to maybe emotionally eat, have no food freedom, and was really unhappy. And then you talk about your transformation and your journey. And now, if you're a coach, likely you're at the point where you actually got over all that and you're able to help someone else get over all that. So you talk about your now. Maybe now you have food freedom, you're not up all night thinking about calories, and one more dream result, and then direct them to apply to work with you. So the call to action within that video is, if this resonates with you and if you want some more help, hit the link in my bio to apply to work with me, or DM me the keyword freedom and apply to work with me. And then the third type of call to action content you can post is dream results. So with sales, you never actually want to talk about, oh, I'm selling 2 one-to-one Zoom calls with me, a community chat, and a meal plan. That's not what you're selling. You're selling the transformation and you're selling the dream results that someone would get from doing that work. Say if you're a mindset coach, you're probably selling being anxiety free, not overthinking anymore, actually having goals, being able to manage your time correctly. Say if you're a nervous system coach, you're probably going to market getting more clarity, stopping overthinking, being able to feel more aligned with your life's purpose. That is what you're selling. So with this last piece of content, we want to create a video around what are the benefits or what are the dream results that someone's going to get after coming through your program. So a piece of content you might create might look something like, in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you everything that you're going to get from working with me. And then you'd list out about 8 or 9 dream results that someone's going to get from working with you. And then you put a call to action at the end. Again, either direct them to a link in your bio, comment a keyword ready to apply to work with me, or DM me a keyword start to apply to work. So that's the third type I'm going to give you in today's video. So again, to summarize, the 3 most important things in order to remember when you're building a personal brand full of buyers is number 1, solve your ideal viewer's problems. Number 2, really get across your uniqueness, your personality, your experiences, and your lessons. And number 3, post at least one piece of conversion content every single week that actually directs them somewhere in order to buy your program, or actually gives them the opportunity to raise their hand first if they want more information on your program or they want to jump on a call with you. That's all for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed and you got so much value. If you did, please like, subscribe, and I'll be back next week with another banger.